I'll be talking about understanding the painful side of romantic rejection. So I do these YouTube lives every Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. If you guys do find this video content of value, everything's in the description, donations, etc. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Let your friends know if you do find this video content of value, all right? But that being said, I'm going to be talking about a recap episode that I've done before, which is on you can be better or you can become better. Or you can be bitter or you can be better. It's your story. Whatever story you want to tell yourself, all right? And the slide that I will be talking about today is going to be learn when to let go, or just learning when to let go, because sometimes a lot of people, they like to hold on to a lot of things for way too long, and it's not doing them any good. Holding on to these type of people, these feelings, these type of fantasies that you have, all right? So now I want to start off by talking about if the decision that you're making is an attempt to make yourself a better person, to make you become better, then it might be worth a shot. Okay, it sounds very common sense like, but yes it is. Most people major in minor things. They do, and they would do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So it's like that pain of becoming better, which is, most people wouldn't want to do that. They don't want to become better because it's like, it means I have to put in effort. It means I have to put in work. Now, at worst, you learn what works and what doesn't work for you. That's the best thing. It's understanding yourself, right? You must be who you are, and what you should be is not important. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people try to change people, or they try to change into someone so that it can fit into another person's life. And that never pans out well, because you're never going to be consistent, and eventually who you are is going to come out, and it's never going to be as consistent, and you're not being yourself. It's like living in a place where you're always constantly there and you're never enjoying it. So you must be who you are, and what you should be is not important. Now, if staying at a job or being in a relationship or participating in certain activities, these things, it does not fuel you, then it's not really meant for you. Because so many times, a lot of people, they stay in relationships and they settle. They're unhappy. There's a lot of people in relationships right now. There's also a lot of single people, but it doesn't mean that all these people, what's up, Adam? It doesn't mean that everyone that's in a relationship are in a happy relationship. This goes for marriages. This goes for any type of relationship, right? Whether it's a friendship, not a lot of people are excited about it. So it's your job. It's your job to create this life and lifestyle, this environment, so that you could become better. Who doesn't want to be in a happy relationship, whether it's your intimate partner or your friendship? I don't care if it's family. You have to figure out what you want, and if they're causing you more harm than good, then back away. Just back away. Let them know. So wherever you go, you should always build your character. So whoever you are, and character is destiny. That's what my coach has always taught me. Your character is destiny. Your character is destiny. Most people major in minor things, okay? And so if you're thinking about becoming this type of person that is going to fuel you inside, it's like, what does it take to become a better person? What can I do today to become better? Please don't spam. I will have to remove you, all right? I appreciate it if you didn't spam. If you want to just hang out, that's all good, all right? So, character is something where you must stay consistent in, okay? No, that's okay. Character is something you must stay consistent in. It is not something where you only participate only at your leisure or dependent on your emotions. I hope you guys understand that. That's your character. That's who you are. You got to stay consistent. And if who you are isn't where you want to be, then you could change that. You're not a tree. You don't have to stand still all the time and be there for the rest of your life before you get chopped down, all right? You're not a tree. You get to move, and that's the beauty of life, okay? And so you can become better. Now, what's up, Beth? Integrity, okay? Having integrity. What does it mean? It means it's the quality of being honest. Someone that's honest, that lives by some sort of set of values and principles. What are your core values? So a lot of people kind of lack that. They don't even know what they want. They don't even know what are their core values. They don't even know what they truly want, and they expect it from somebody else. That's unrealistic. So integrity. Integrity is something that does not cost you a single thing until you're stuck between choosing what is right and what is good for you. Hello. So integrity is something that doesn't cost you anything until you're in this kind of dilemma, like, damn, like I want to do what's right for me, but also then you gotta choose what is right. What is right? How old are you? Take a wild guess. So most people start to rationalize behaviors to save character. Why not just act with integrity from the beginning? Having easier said than done, right? Having integrity isn't about doing what is easy, though. All right, it's about doing what is right. Not a lot of people do the right thing. So every choice you make will be based off avoiding pain or to gain pleasure. Hope you guys understand that. Whatever you do in life, it's there to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. Everything you do in life. So for me, I didn't want to. I woke up today. I was like, God damn, I gotta go to the gym. Well, I don't have to, but I was like, I should. I should. I need to have that discipline, which I do. You know, some certain days are easier than others, and certain days are more difficult than others. Today's was one of those days where I was like, I don't really want to do it. All right, let's just get ready and drive. And when I'm there, I'm already there. And guess what? I had a great time. So, anyways, having integrity, right? It's about doing what's right. Now, a person that seeks almost solely for pleasure usually have much more difficulty in life. They don't have a lot. They complain a lot. They will always complain about other people having more than them. Why? Because they didn't do anything to become more than they are. They just struggled. They just, spent their entire 20s having fun. And instead of taking care of themselves, going to the gym, eating right, investing in themselves, whether it's reading books or, lifting some weights. You got to take care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually, all right? So before you think about being bitter for pleasure, think about what you can do to become better, because most people choose to be bitter, and it's easier because all you have to do is just sit there and complain. And when you complain, you don't have to do anything. You just blame other people. So better is usually acting from a place of strength versus from a place of weakness. And a lot of people, they come from a place of weakness, and that's why they don't have a lot in their life, okay? So let's talk about rejection, okay? So the sting of rejection. That's why you're here, right? The meat at the topic. So the sting of rejection. So have you ever felt this type of sting of rejection from someone you liked, or maybe you had interest in, whether it's in high school, maybe you're in high school, or, maybe it's someone at the bar, or maybe even someone at Starbucks, whoever it is. And you decide to kind of muster up this type of courage, and you were like, I'm going to go up and talk to this person and hope they respond well. And that usually sucks, right? Now, most of the time in this type of dating world, whether it's online or swiping, right? Swiping online, because it's more relevant now. One thing that still remains is whether or not you're getting rejected in person or online, it's still a big blow to your self-esteem, okay? Now, behind the camera lens, you could kind of filter some certain things out. You could, hide yourself, hide your imperfections a little bit better, right? But if you have certain imperfections and there's certain things that you want, that you could work on, those are things that you could work on. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a long time, and it's not going to be easy, but the reward is there. So, but anyways, this type of rejection that we feel, I mean, I've experienced it a lot. And so usually with this type of rejection that we get, it leads us to feel kind of insecure about ourselves. It makes you feel you obviously you're not optimistic about it because you just got turned down. You're kind of a little withdrawn. Maybe you're a little shy or you're a little quiet about it, and you're not really motivated to do anything. And what could actually get worse is you start becoming angry about it. And when you get angry and you're pissed off, like I said earlier, you might become bitter, or you could become better. And everybody has a choice. It happened to me, and I couldn't help but think at the time when I got rejected, what is wrong with me? How come nobody wants me? I'm not good. I'm not tall enough, right? I'm not that tall. So I was like, I will make up excuses. I'm not tall enough. I'm not this. I'm not that, right? To where I start feeling bad about myself, and I start becoming more angry. And being angry, I'll be no different than an old man that's angry about everything, right? So I would get angry, and now I would start making these things up that I hear in this whole echo chamber of, this red pill community, where on dating apps, 80% of women only date the top 20% of men, right? You have to be 6 feet tall. You got to make six figures. You got to have a six pack. There's no one out there for me. All the good people is taken. It's like, no, absolutely not. There's 8 billion people. There's a lot of people out there. And so whatever story that you constantly tell yourself, well, guess what? That's going to be true. Whatever you focus on, you're going to attract. So if you focus on, hey, you know what? There is no opportunity. That's it. I'm done. There's no one out there for me. Well, guess what? What am I going to get? But if I focus a little bit more on opportunities, growth, I'm going to have much more opportunities, and I'm going to focus on growth. I'm going to be focusing on the things that I can improve on versus what doesn't happen for me. So now, most people, when they're upset and they're angry, usually it starts from a scale of being apathetic. So for people over here that's watching, when you're apathetic, you kind of like, I don't care. It is what it is. Very low energy. It doesn't really cost you anything. And that's not different. That's not being indifferent, okay? Being indifferent, at least you're still pursuing things. Being apathetic, you kind of like, I don't care. It is what it is. I don't care if I'm single for the rest of my life. It is what it is, right? That's kind of like very low energy. To where you go past certain points where there's grief. You're like, damn, you start to feel bad about yourself, right? Then there's fear. And fear, as you scale it up, it requires more energy. And so when there's that fear, once you get past that fear, you might become angry. Why? Because most people don't realize that behind anger is always fear. Most people the next time you see someone yelling and screaming, they're fearful of something. All right? But if we could just get past that little hump of fear, anger, and just get past that little threshold right above that, just get right past that. If you could get over that little hump, instead of being competitive and impatient, you start becoming a little bit more collaborative and indifferent. You become more collaborative. What does that mean? It means that you start collaborating with yourself. You start to say things like, well, how can I? What are some things that I can do? Where can I start? Like, to me, that's the beauty of life. Like, how can I become more than I am now? Can I do this? Where can I start? Like, those are much better questions to ask than being upset and pissed off and say, there's no one out there. What's up, Bree? So now, have a collaborative mindset. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So we start to find ourselves in different type of mindsets. Once you're more collaborative, you become this person with a different type of mindset that will help you separate yourself from the rest of the people. And that allows you to have more opportunities for yourself, which gives other people more opportunities to realize what your worth is, because you're putting in work for yourself. So most of the time people don't really get that, so they never really take a step back and reflect on their own type of behaviors. And are you doing things that is building more attraction versus behaviors that's kind of diminishing your attractions? So if everything is done right now, everything's so great, why aren't you where you want to be? So that's my question. All right, slide number two. It is a blow to our ego, right? If you ever struggle to feel good about yourself, wondering if you're good enough, questioning whether or not you're competent enough, am I good enough? Like, and if you're familiar with my work, one of our biggest fears of just being human is the feeling of not being good enough, being inadequate, right? I'm not good. Am I competent? Not competent enough, right? And it's natural where if you have constant rejection, it will inevitably breed self-doubt. If you've gotten so many no's, you're gonna breed self-doubt. You're just gonna be like, damn, I'm not good enough. Like, then you start telling yourself these type of stories that kind of feeds into this lie that this is who you are, this is it. You're never gonna become better. And that's where most people kind of operate from. They operate from this place of like, this is it. I can't become any better. Like you never even try to become better. I don't care if you're 4'8" and you're a dude and you're like, damn, I could never get a girl. Like, there's someone out there. There's 8 billion people. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can find somebody. All right, now it's gonna take a lot of work. It's gonna take a lot of commitment for yourself. But the energy you put into yourself is what you can put out. You can't give what you don't have. So be careful the stories that you tell yourself, right? It's one of those things now where with constant rejection and, that being this kind of blow to your ego, you're going to have to deal with more rejections than people saying yes to you. You're going to have a lot of no's. Just think about people in sales. You think they always get a sale every single time someone talks to them? No. Do some people have better success rates? Yes. So those are the type of people that you might want to ask, like, how did you do it? What were certain questions that you asked? You got to ask good quality questions. What were some of the questions that you asked? How do you communicate with people so well? And why do people like you so much? How? Just remember that you're always dealing with people with emotions. And you're dealing with a human, all right? So you're not a robot when you're talking to people. Because I remember this one time, well, I was trying to sell something, and I was just constantly talking. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, yeah, why?" She was like, "You seem nervous," and I was, and I was like, "Damn. Thanks for calling." And then my demeanor kind of completely changed. I was like, damn, you're right. I am nervous. You can tell I haven't done this very often. But yeah, it sounds like that you're here because you and that she ended up buying, right? But I was honest, and it's because I was honest about it. But anyways, that was a side story. What she felt at that time, at that client, was I was human again. I was like, yeah, you're right. I am a little nervous. And I didn't ask questions. I just talked. And it is always better to allow them to talk and ask them questions, because whoever's asking the questions are in control of the conversation. Okay, so I had to learn it the hard way. She called me out. It was funny. Learning example. All right, so you're gonna get a lot of no's, but I was lucky enough to get a yes that day. So that's just part of the journey, right? If you're willing to get past all the no's, or you got to get past it, right? And the people thinking that you cannot do it, you're already halfway there. Because most people, they can't even get that far, because once they're told no, that they're not good enough, that, this whole idea of, say, for a guy going out and being socially rejected by a woman feels like something that it will stay stuck with them forever. It's like, believe it or not, if you went outside, let's just say I'm single and I go out and I see this girl and I'm like, God damn, I want to talk to her. And I don't know these people that she's around, or maybe there's like a bystander that's kind of watching her reject me, right? And as I go up to her and I talk to her, I'd be like, let's just say I'm just like, hi, you know what? I'm really nervous. I don't know how to do this, right? Say you're brand new to it. I don't really know, but you're honest. You're honest about it. You just, I would like to get to know you and maybe take you out on a coffee date, right? Don't do coffee dates, but you say what you're saying, and you get rejected, and she's like, "Oh no, sorry, I'm actually in a relationship. I have a boyfriend," and things like that. Other people that watches it, even though you got turned down, there most of them, okay, unless they're haters, most of them are gonna be like, "Wow, like that took a lot of courage." Not a lot of people have a lot of courage like that anymore. So, believe it or not, people would be more impressed than like embarrassed for you. It is embarrassing to get shot down, but you just kind of walk away with it and be like, well, one no equals a closer yes. So you just got to get past that type of rejection. It's going to happen, right? Because if you want everybody to say yes to you all the time, you're not living in reality. And the reality is that a lot of people just aren't that really into you, and that's okay. There's not everybody's into me. I can't be everybody. Now, the number one most important thing is to not take it personal when you are getting rejected. Don't take it personal. It's just something that you just have to work on to become better. Maybe you could work on your game a little bit. Maybe you could work on your tone, right? Smile a little bit. Become more presentable. How do I become more presentable? And with enough repetition, doing it constantly, then you work on yourself, and then you go back out there and you ask, and then you work on yourself, and you go back out there and you ask. Guess what? You're gonna get a yes. You're gonna get a yes. Okay? If you constantly work, and if you constantly getting no's, then you can maybe, what the hell am I doing wrong? There has to be something that I'm doing wrong. Okay? So that's how you work on yourself. You just gotta reflect. Now, maybe you haven't been taught this, right? And I wasn't neither. I didn't know that you could learn this at one point. I thought either you had it or you didn't. That's really what I thought it was. And the thing is, it's like you might not be where you are, but it doesn't mean you have to stay where you are right now. It doesn't mean you have to stay there. So, all right. Romantic rejections. All right. Romantic rejections. And this kind of goes for people that are maybe you're in a long-term relationship, or you just want to get to know that person and you get rejected. So let's talk about it. Most people focus on the dating and the pickup game. You go online, you hear a lot of people talk about the dating and the pickup because it's a little bit more exciting. When you meet someone new, you don't know anything about them. It's like getting a new video game. You ever got a new jacket and you're like, shit, this is a nice jacket. I paid more than I would normally get. I will pay for this jacket, and you're always hanging it up. And then you wear it for about 2 weeks. Next thing you know, like when you come home, like before you used to hang it up, no creases. Next thing you know, you're just kind of tossing it on a chair. Yeah, that happens. Okay. So I get it. It's a little bit more exciting when you're getting to know somebody, and this whole dating and pickup. And most people neglect this whole long-term relationship. And whether you're just trying to learn one or the other, it is both equally important. And you can't just have one and not the other if you want to build a life with somebody. You just can't, because, and this is what my coach taught me. Coach Corey Wayne, thank you. He was like, look, you could have attainable success, meaning you could pick up someone, you might be able to take them home, have fun, but nothing sustains itself because you don't understand the whole relationship, the courtship. The courtship never ends, all right? Especially if you're a guy and you don't understand this and you become lazy, complacent, and comfortable, your relationship is gonna spiral down. All right. But I have a solution if you just stay here, right? So both equally important, all right? Now, the most important thing that you can do for a relationship is just to focus on this, all right? I'll focus on me for you, and you focus on you for me. Or if you want to change it, I'll focus on me for you, meaning that I'll take care of myself for you and you take care of yourself for me. That way I don't need you to be there to help me. But it'd be nice every now and then to have some support, because I know life gets difficult, right? So the best thing that you can do is the best thing that you could bring to the table, or the best thing that you can do in a relationship or to anybody, is to present yourself as your most attractive self. Your most attractive self for the person you want to spend your life with. Present yourself as the most attractive self. And I'm not just saying, oh, you got to be physically attractive. That helps a lot. That plays a big role. And for people that be like, oh, Mitchell, you just being shallow. It's like, no, I'm not. Look at most of the relationships. Look at most relationships that people have kids. When they have kids, they don't take care of the body anymore. They kind of like, it is what it is. Let me just grab this regular gray hoodie that I had for like 7 years and then just put that on. And then let's go like shopping and just get some groceries and then come back home. And the wife doesn't really respect the man. She's walking in front of him. He's not even leading. He's probably on his phone. Like, that's not, to me personally, that is not a happy, healthy relationship. I want to have a good relationship with whoever I'm with. So that's why it's something that you always got to focus on. You have to, the grass is only greener where you water it, all right? So you focus on yourself so that you don't have to be dependent on them. Now, romantic rejections, it comes in many forms. And if she was once interested in you and now she's not, more than likely, like 95%, okay, 90, I would even push it to close to 100. It is most likely an attraction issue. More than likely, it is an attraction issue. So if she was once interested and now she's not, something that you're doing as a man is not turning her on anymore. Maybe it could be many things. It's so easy to turn someone off. Maybe you spoke a little bit too much. You're not doing anything in your life. You're not dating and courting. Like, there's so many things. So that's why it's like, this is not something that you could be like, oh, I'll just do this and everything would be better. It's like, no, this is a philosophy. This is how you become this person, so that the person that you're with feels like, damn, I got what I'm so fucking lucky that I got to be with this person. That's how you want to make them feel. And that is how you can maintain this. And it's something that you have to maintain, and it has to be consistent, meaning that it doesn't mean that you can't mess up. And it doesn't mean you can't have bad days and bad months or even a bad year, but it's something that you should always kind of gauge. What is her level of interest and things like that? Like, that's something that you have to stay consistent in. That's what I mean by consistent. So romantic rejections, okay, that's that. And when I say that if she was once interested and now she's not, and like I said, I don't know anything about her. I don't know anything about her character. Like, an example is like, if she's a liar and a cheater, no amount of goodness from you could change that person. It's just who she is, okay, or he is, or whatever. But now, the thing is, the quickest way to get anybody else to change is to change yourself. So somewhere along the way, you stop becoming the man or the person that you once were. Somewhere along the way, right? And I get it, though. I get it, because it's almost impossible to stay consistent on never being too comfortable or never being too complacent. It's unrealistic to ask for someone like that in a relationship. Everybody is going to get complacent. I get complacent. I get comfortable. And that is why it is important that I do, and I do this personally, You can do it too, and I think you should do it too if you're in a relationship. Just do monthly or weekly audits, whatever. All right, it can happen 12 times a year or 10, whatever. Just do monthly, or if you want to take yourself a little bit more seriously, every bi-weekly audits or weekly audits on her romantic interest in you. And questions you might want to ask yourself, you don't want to ask her this, okay? Questions you might want to ask yourself is like, well, how was she towards me in the past week or month or whatever? In the past 7 days, in the past whatever days, right? How was she towards me? Has she shown me more interest, or is she giving me this not a cold shoulder, or maybe she's like becoming a little bit more cold, more distant? Has her I love yous gone away? Has it been less? Okay. Does she allow you to lead? That is very important, because if you're a man in a relationship, I don't care if it's gay, lesbian, whatever relationship, the masculine energy in that relationship, and that person, and you're the masculine energy, and that other person does not allow you to lead, in this case in a heterosexual relationship, a man and a woman, if she doesn't allow you to lead, it means that she's already taking, she doesn't trust you. If she doesn't trust you, it's not very far away for her to start losing respect for you. And so things like that, it's like you want to be careful. You want to take audits and be like, has she shown me more interest, or she become more distant? Has her I love you gone away? Does she allow you to lead? That is very important, because if she doesn't, and she thinks that you're incompetent, then you just got to be like, well, hey, you know what? Maybe it's time to pick up some slack. And you know what? You're human. You make mistakes. You could always become better. Those are things that you could kind of start asking. Which leads me to the next, which is never stop becoming better. Never stop becoming better. Okay. And the Jim Rohn quote that I love so much is, you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. Unless you change how you are, you'll always have what you got. So it means that, damn, like you can work on yourself and get more. And the example that Jim Rohn used, was, he was like, is it possible where someone could work in the same job, get twice as much pay? Same job, twice as much pay. Maybe different departments, same company, twice as much pay. Triple, quadruple. How is that? And it's what you bring. It's what you could solve. So if you add more value to yourself and you could solve better problems, you're going to get paid more. That's what it is. And if you work on yourself and you want, if you want a better relationship, and you're kind of like, damn, all my relationships that I've always had doesn't really last very long, or it seems like she will always eventually lose interest in me, this is a great place for you to understand, like, damn, like there's a lot of things that you can work on. So you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are. But if you don't change, everything's going to stay the same. That's basically it. So now, as the masculine man in the relationship, you must continue to improve yourself. There's no exceptions. It's non-negotiable. You have to always become better. Where you are at now, it doesn't stop there. You have to become more. You have to become better. All right. That is, unless you want to be in a relationship with someone who felt like they've settled. That's the last thing I ever want my girl to feel. I don't want her to be like, damn, I'm settled, I'm stuck. Or, or you two feel like maybe you live together. Y'all are roommates. Y'all don't even have sex. Like, it's important. The best relationships are the ones that usually have sex 2 to 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times. Those are the best relationships. Why? Because physical intimacy is just as important. She needs to feel you, okay? Not just through your words and your action. She needs to feel you physically, all right? You got to, someone's got to penetrate that, all right? So you got to do it. But if you're complaining, you're sitting there, you're just complaining that you're not getting access to the box. It's like, that doesn't make you any better. Complaining doesn't make you better. What makes you better is actions, by taking initiative, by taking accountability and responsibility, and start asking quality questions. What are some things that I can do to become better? And over here you get access to a lot of information, a lot of free information too. But I know that most people won't take this advice because it requires a lot of work. So, take it how you guys want it. So, now if you want to build a life with someone though, right? If you want to build a life with someone, and the most important thing is that you have to know what you want. You have to know what you want all the while nourishing what you already have. You have to know what you want. You have to go for it while still taking care of what you already have. Okay. Most people think that, hey, you know what? I already got her, or, I'm already in this relationship. I don't need to do much to maintain this. I don't need to water this plant now that I got it. How does that sound? Ask anybody. You go into a flower shop and be like, I just want this plant. Here's my money, and I want it to grow, but I don't want to do anything to it. It's like, it's kind of naive. So why would you think anything different in a relationship? And most long-term relationship end because the man usually, all right? And I'm not blaming men. I'm just saying, like, you're the leader. And most relationship, because like I said, if she was once interested, now she's not, and I don't know anything about her character, I'm assuming that she's a happy, healthy, normal woman. That most long-term relationship ends because you stop becoming the man in the relationship. What does that mean? It means that you're no longer leading. You're no longer dating and courting her. You stop making her feel appreciated. You don't listen to her. You're always trying to solve her problems. You're not really understanding her. Woman likes to feel understood. So you have to listen more than you speak. And she will solve her own problems. It's not rocket science. Just ask questions. Oh, is that how it makes you feel? Or when that happened, what happened next? And then just pay undivided attention. Just listen to her. Okay? Now, for most people, most first-time encounters, okay, of romantic rejection. These are first-time encounters. There's not a long-term relationship. I'm saying that you went up and you talked to her, right? First-time encounters of romantic rejection is failure to lead. Usually it's usually a failure to lead. Now, if she is not interested or she's not attracted to you, no amount of charisma, it's not going to work. She's just not interested. Okay, don't take it personal, but it is what it is. Don't take it personal. But the number one most attractive characteristic in a masculine trait is confidence. So being able to show who you are and go after what you want, because that is the number one most attractive thing that you can do. Because why? If you're confident, you're able to take the lead. Now, if you're not confident, you're not going to be able to lead. So if you're unable to show confidence, it's going to be really hard to convince somebody that you know how to lead. And it's not attractive if you don't know how to lead. If you're a guy and you're trying to talk to this chick. All right, so that doesn't mean that you have zero shot though. I'm pretty sure someone out there is meant for you. Maybe she might even walk up to you and be like, oh my God. But your pool selection of your dating pool, your dating pool will be a lot lower, okay? Now, if you just don't care, you don't have to do anything. If you don't care, you don't have to do anything. Just like anything in life. If you don't care, you don't have to do anything. And just be who you are at now. Just be who you are and stay where you are. But if you're tired of constantly getting rejected, there's always a better way. Now, the whole main idea of this whole topic is so that you have a choice. You have a choice. That way you can choose what you want rather than what shows up in front of you. Right? What's his name? Tony Robbins. Okay. Tony Robbins said, was it Tony Robbins? Anyways, he said, 1 is no choice. 2 is a dilemma. 3 is a choice. So you want to be able to have choice in your life. And that being said, that is my topic of today. And I will go over some of the summaries of the slides that I talked about. So the first slide was the sting of rejection, right? We can't help but think, what is wrong with me when we get rejected? What's wrong with me? How come nobody wants me? To where you start feeling bad for yourself, or feeling bad or angry at other people, where you say, well, only 80% of men want to date the top 20% of 80% of women only want to date the top 20% of men. And there's no one out there for me, yada yada yada. Okay, like, be careful with the story that you tell yourself. A blow to our ego. Slide number 2. One of the biggest fears for humans is the feeling of being inadequate, not good enough. So constant rejection will inevitably breed self-doubt, but it's even easier to start telling yourself these type of stories that feeds into this lie that you cannot become more than you are. So what I'm saying is, if you're feeling not great about yourself, guess what? You could change that. This is a place to start learning, so you could change that. So there's this process that you have to get through. Romantic rejections. Most people focus on a dating and pickup. Very, very, very common. Most people neglect the long-term focus on a relationship. And the best thing that you can bring to the table is to present yourself as your most attractive self. Your most attractive self. For the person you want to spend your time with. And our last slide is, never stop becoming better. You can't have more than you are because you can't have more than you've got. Excuse me. You can have more than you got because you can become more than you are. And unless you change how you are, you're always going to have what you got. So if you want to build a life with someone, you have to know what you want, all the while nourishing what you already have. And that being said, that is the end of the show today. Thank you all for showing up. And if you're watching this on a rerun, I appreciate you. Let's do some fun. If you watched all the way to the end, I would like you to say, put this in quote, bettering myself. Just say bettering myself, so that I know that you watched it to the end. And I appreciate you. I appreciate that you're taking time away from your busy day to watch this almost an hour video live. I know it's a long time, but it's only there for you. You can become better. You can become more than you are. That being said, thank you for your time. I'll catch you guys on the next live, and I'll see you tomorrow. For our express session. All right, peace.